Hey all, it's been a while since I made a video, and I know it's coming up to Christmas, and I hope you're not getting too overwhelmed with all the Christmas craziness. Sorry I haven't made a video in a while. It's been quite busy for me too, moving house, moving suburbs, so on and so forth. Anyway, topic for today is someone asked yesterday why people on the spectrum are generally so anxious and why they often suffer from anxiety and depression. Now obviously, as usual, I'll just do my take on this from my own perspective and my own understanding. So people with autism in general are very hypersensitive in a way that the general population generally are not. For instance, with myself, I am very hypersensitive to smells, to lights, to noises. I'm very socially anxious because I often don't know how I should act in social situations, and that makes me very nervous as well. A lot of colours trigger me, a lot of, even weather, the smallest things. Like, I have quite a lot of triggers which, as you get older and live with your autism or Asperger's, you start to learn what they are, and you start to be able to, know your limits a little bit better and your boundaries. Anyway, so it's kind of, I guess, for someone to feel safe and relaxed, they need to have a safe environment where they feel comfortable. And for people on the spectrum, that is quite hard to find in the current society and the way that the world is at the moment, especially in cities and, Western civilization in particular, I think, because there is a lot of expectation. The world moves, everybody moves very quickly. There's, you're expected to either be working or studying, and it makes life very difficult if you can't kind of keep up with the rat race. And, generally, not only does that make you anxious, but a lot of people on the spectrum also lack self-confidence because they feel like they're not making their mark, they're not meeting the guidelines, to be a human. So, yeah, there are a lot of interactions which will make someone more anxious who is on the spectrum. I think a lot of the time, when you become an adult, you are better at masking it, but this masking actually takes quite a lot of energy. So where someone like myself will go, if I'm feeling well, to a social party or a meeting, but after I've been at that meeting, I am then completely exhausted and laid out afterwards because of the amount of energy that it takes me. Noises, if there's an ongoing noise in the background, that also completely wears me out, and I'll tolerate it because I know my limits, but when I get home I have to have a rest and often will hide away for a few hours. But yeah, I think the anxiety and depression is mainly based around the fact that you are highly aroused by things that don't trigger a lot of other people. You never really feel like you're in a safe environment, and the depression is because you feel like you're never actually meeting standards. You always feel like you're underperforming, you don't really fit in, and you don't really understand things. Like for myself, I have a very limited concept of sex, of sexuality, of relationships, of how to interact well with other people. I don't know how how the usual person hears things and sees things, because to me that's so my hypersensitivities make everything so bold and intense. I'm not sure how everyone else perceives those things, because to me they're quite large triggers, and although sometimes that can be a blessing, it can also be a bit of a curse, because I get tired a lot and I'm anxious a lot. But I think, if we can all just try to get to know ourselves a little bit better and learn to love ourselves a little bit more, I think it is all, we can kind of find a medium space, hopefully. Anyway, I hope you're all well. Have a Merry Christmas, and over and out.